Yes. Yeah. I note that under others that we will have many more, but service and support, um, license shop, and okay. So perhaps let's start with the user function of balances. The predominantly question to you, the service department. What's the use? Why do customers buy balance connection today? Why do they use it? What is it typically?
Transfer data in other applications like Excel.
Excel is, I think Excel is the most used function from balance connection.
Okay.
I question my
Transfer to how do you call that in local
Simulation, keyboard press simulation.
keyboard simulation? Data transfer to Excel. How is that typically looking like? Do we collect data inside balance connection and then give it to Excel, or is it directly shot into Excel?
You will receive it from a scale and write it to Excel.
Okay.
And you can determine which data you want to have in your Excel, like weight, PC time, date, users, and so on.
Okay, data is cutting the string.
Yeah, so basically, I think it can be summarized to the data transfer part is one big thing basically. So to read data from the scale, scales can transfer various things like pieces, a full printout for a moisture analyzer, for example, where it prints the temperature, the value, date, and so on. And this is passed into packets, and then it's transferred to the output ports, I call them. So, for example, one output port could be Excel, one output port could be a keyboard simulation or file or database or HTTP call, for example, and so on. But between the input and the output, there should be filters. So not every packet reaches each output port, but could be filtered. So simply removed from the pipeline, or it could be merged, for example. So you take one packet from one scale and wait for another packet from the other scale and merge them.
Oh, that website can do.
Basically, when you have a time synchronous thing going on where you have two scales, for example, weighing at the same time, and if you want to have one line in the Excel file, then you would have to wait for it. They have to wait for each other. And so basically these packets can be filtered and merged. And yeah. Maybe you have seen that there are various output ports. I think Excel is for sure the most used one, but yes, at the same time that it could be written into a simple file, or it could be sent with a send keys, so simulation to other applications, and at the same time, for example, click with the mouse at some point and then enter part of the data, and otherwise enter other part of the data. So it tries to solve all the data transfer problems, basically.
Is that the keyboard simulation? How does that work?
It simply presses keys on keyboard, like some little figure, over the keyboard and pressing keys.
And why do we do that?
For example, when you have an ERP system like Sage design, you have an input field where you want to where you have the weight of the package to be sent, and the office line wants the weight inside of this field. So you can tell balance connection right into the current field, or open the ERP system stream and click into this field and then enter. the logic.
Okay, so write weighing data from balance connection into a defined field in
How did you achieve it? For an example, target application screen, how do you feed the data to it?
For example, which screen?
People were explaining from the balance connection, the measurement data, you can transfer it to another application, some field. How did you achieve it?
So the exact field is it tries to find the right window, which is basically on the Windows, the class ID, title, whatever.
Okay, okay.
And then fields, I think
I saw.
could find fields, but it's hard. Basically, it depends on the framework used and so on. So when the customer really wants to have a special field, often they navigate using keyboard, for example. So activate window and by keyboard to the right field, or you could simulate mouse click, for example, at
Super.
points.
I think that's the main difference between EasyTouch and a balance connection. If they don't want to have a user interface, then EasyTouch is not the right solution.
The right
for the
solution.
customer.
Can you repeat the last sentence if they want?
If they don't want to use a user interface.
Yes.
So in EasyTouch, we have our processor
I get it,
defined in EasyTouch.
Okay.
If they don't want this, if they want to entering data in an
Yeah.
existing user interface, for
Yeah.
example, Office Line, then they have to use balance connection so far.
Yeah. I think I was calling that machine to machine system
Mhm.
and not as EasyTouch, which is machine to human system.
You're able to describe a whole scenario within balance connection, which can be run over automatically by the system, right?
It's not like a full blown engine where you can.
No, but you trigger a scenario from maybe by pushing a button or something like that, and the rest is done by the machine itself.
So what he does is takes the data from balance connection. Some data is coming. He can feed it to another application in the same PC. He will use that window configuration in Windows. The object ID can identify and enter the data there.
Yeah. This is a scenario that is described by the user. Maybe we can take a look at an example.
That's what. And class ID.
Mir ging es jetzt mehr um den Nutzen von Balance Connection und nicht um die.
Ja, okay, okay.
Du hast schon recht,
Ja, okay.
wenn man jetzt das Programm analysiert, dann muss man von anfangen. Aber mir ging es jetzt darum, warum kaufen Kunde? Was ist da Ziel von Balance Connection? Marcel will demonstrate some.
Yeah.
But Andreas points out, once we are analyzing now balance connection from a technical side, we of course would need to start with the beginning because also there is a lot of intelligence inside. I only, with the user functions of balance connection, I'm now having the focus for you. What is the target of balance connection? What is the user benefit of balance connection? So I don't want to go into the technical details at this moment.
So just so you have the actual window in front of you.
Can you join in the Teams so that I can and share your screen so that in the recording it will come? Not Teams. No, just click on the link in the meeting. Just click on the meeting link.
So because
Go to the calendar, Outlook calendar.
I have to
Just click on it. Yeah.
It's not that easy because this is not my PC screen. This is my screen of my other PC. So let's try.
Browser,
Fast.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You can share your screen and continue. Super. Thank you.
Next time.
Mit diesem Tisch. Das ist schwierig.
Das meint los.
Thank you.
Okay, so finally, let's restart the English. So what I can show you here quickly is that
Use some
there are two screens of balance connection. So when you
advanced one and normal.
Yeah. This is the simple screen, and this is the old screen, which focuses on solely transferring the weighing data or only the weighing value to a target window using this key simulation. So this was the original purpose of balance connection.
The weight value is a net value.
Only the network.
Only.
And you could add date and time. So this is basically the first version of balance connection. And you here below you can see that you can request the weight data using keyboard press, so key press, and using regular time or pressing on the scale. So this is the basic features. And then you have the export mode. When you press here the button number 9, you enter the export mode, which looks like this. And good, where for the first part is this zone. We call it. You can use docking and rearrange the screens. Would like the first interesting feature here is that this is saved. It is not saved at the moment.
Okay.
With the Windows setup.
Okay.
This is of course not good.
Okay, we wanted to concentrate on the application. So why do we use balance connection?
So you can have an unlimited number of devices. These devices have protocols. You can define inside here. You have a number of predefined protocols, and you can also add for protocol templates, they are called. So, for example, you can here define that this type of balance, then this type of string when you do this and that, and so on. And yeah, so you define the device and you connect the device to a number of ports. You can see here there are different several types of ports inside here. And you see the gray ones are those that I didn't implement. But yeah, I added them these options as gray. So maybe one customer will come and say, I can't click this here, but I want it. And so to have a little bit of feedback, but they are not implemented at the moment. Yeah, Bluetooth, for example, you are the Bluetooth experts. you know,
We are not the expert, we learned recently.
yeah, this is what we an idea to add more interfaces. Of course, here, but also there are also newer protocol like OPC UA, for example, really high-end protocols could be added here. And these interfaces are used to receive data, but they could also be used to send data. For example, you could here add another RS-232 port and tell the software that a printer is attached there. And so you could receive weighing data, format it, and send it to a printer to print it out. Yeah. Okay, and then
That format maybe is something we can mention. A typical application is that also converting gram into kilogram.
for example, yeah, this,
So you have pipelines built here, and pipelines can be configured.
lanes,
Pipelines.
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 Pipeline is pipeline is basically it's a mathematical term. Times 2 divided by 1000.
I'm
But
sure
it's a-
it's a very flexible. I made a very flexible kind of template language used for this. Okay, so you have devices connected to interfaces, and then you can have triggers the same as before. You can set up timers or hotkeys to trigger things. Let's call it, and those things can be, for example, commands to the devices.
Okay.
So simply string to the devices, and it could also trigger what I call scenarios. So you could here you can see it. There's a scenario when you every 5 seconds it executes a device declaration. With a certain name, and then waits 300 milliseconds, and then it executes another operation and waits again. And this every 5 seconds. Now, and if it would be connected, you would see here that it tries to send, for example, these commands. Okay, so we can execute tasks remotely or on the computer. And now the biggest part basically here are the output methods. And we've seen the Excel output methods. We have the key press simulations, and maybe we can go through each of them quickly. For example, we have the key press simulation. The global key press simulation is something it just types. It just when there's reason to type, it just types no matter what screen is active. So usually the user simply opens a Word file, for example, or Excel file, and it says, now I need a value here. And then the user can press F2 or press on the scale, and it transfers the value. And here you can see this template language that I mentioned. So you can see that basically it reads here you have the value and then a space, and then you have the unit, and then you press enter. That is the easiest one. Of course, now for example you can say my value and the value in this unit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a variable structure in this format, and you can embed it with whatever text.
Yes, you can embed everything. And here, this little screen here basically helps to create such a output pattern.
Okay.
And you can see you have general property set, date, time, the name, the main user, and of course that there could be the where the moon ending or whatever. It could be a lot of things added here. And on the other side here, this is the content of the packet that is that went through the pipeline. And now.
May I just ask one short question in between? And do we think about taking that code and improving that code, or do we think about developing a new?
Well, that's then what we talk in the third or fourth point, but,
Two phases.
yeah.
It will be two phases.
Okay.
First phase, we will understand what is it and how he has written and learn this. They have been developing for years.
Yeah.
You cannot scrap in a day and then say and develop a new one. So we learn it first.
Absolutely.
And thoroughly understand what is there. Then we can brainstorm how we can make it better and then go to the second option.
Input and was mine.
Okay.
Here you can see there are different types of parsers. So the simplest parser is for the weighing value parser, where it just looks for a weighing value. And if it doesn't see a weighing value in the one line that is received, it looks for just numbers. Basically, but there's a number, then it's good enough. This is a very simple parser, and I would say 99% of it can 99% of the use cases are probably done with this parser.
Again, what does it do?
It just looks for weighing values. It receives the data points.
Yeah.
For weighing values, and when there's a weighing value, then it is taken and transferred to the.
And how is a weight value identified?
It's just a number. So you just by the pattern. So there's some size value, then some digits, then comma, some digits, and then a weighing unit.
This is only a problem when you use the counting scale, get weight and pieces, then it has a problem. You get the pieces as a value. And our application we can use
He has the different parser for it.
And he would mistake the pieces
as weight.
as weight.
Because
Okay.
you only search for a number and then you use the pieces as a weight.
Got it.
For example, for medical, we discussed, right? There are 3 types of data coming in.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Like that, it is. For a normal scale, it will give only the weighing value. If it is a counting scale, it will give pieces and other formats. Then how to handle it is written defined here by different parsers.
Okay.
Good one.
Yeah, so this is the simple parser, and now I activated it. I say it's this device here, and now I try to simulate that there's a scale here, and I simulate this weighing value, for example, and now the system should take the parser basically and parse it. You can see it here, and it received this value, and now created a package out of this value. You can see that it should have here the first one. So basically it took the characters that it received and passed it into a variable called weight, which is of type unit value.
How did you define this requirement? It's like a more of a, if you look at any of the application integration tools, this is how you define, right, in your pipeline. Completely, right? How you take the value, parse it, and pass it.
Yeah. And now we should also see that.
Sorry, when did you say that it's kilo? Or where did we get the kilogram?
I understand.
I understand it as
Yeah,
kilo.
I said it's so this I said. And so it understood kilogram.
Okay.
Because of the spacing.
But not only because of the space. It should work on many different types of pages. Of course, it can also there were times where it saw a date and thought this is a weight value, and I told it not the dates are not weight values, and from then on I think it detects most weights as a.
This workflow also you can change it, and the trigger also you can change it the way you want it.
Yeah, now I can show you there are very few functions for it at the moment. Here it's called command sequence, and you can here you have possibility to to add. Here you can see a few commands. These are not classes, so you can simply add more of these, such a little bit of code, and then you would have more functionality in it. For example, please sound or show message box to the customer. So now please please wait on whatever.
How many licenses you have stored so far? Balance connection.
Okay.
How many licenses you have stored so far?
Sorry, Sharon.
No.
I like it. Both parties. Asal, how many people written this?
How many was?
How many people developed this?
One.
And who gave the requirements and
One.
the design?
So,
But you have to tell them in which age you did that.
No, actually, see, I have seen a lot of application integration.
Yeah.
Okay. The moment somebody says, I have developed pipeline, the pipeline is a bigger concept. Okay. Not all the developers understand pipeline. Okay. So when he says pipeline, I thought, okay, what he has done, he's just transferring the data. But when I saw that he has done all this, getting the input, passing it, and then sending it to the target location, how it can be configured, all this he has defined. But too good. I think most of the salespeople doesn't understand this application. This will be a major success if we do it properly.
So I think most of the people from sales don't really know what
What
this
it is.
application is able to do. So this is why they call the people from the technical service, Max and Andreas and so on, and because they ask them, or Ina, I think Ina is one of the sales who is coming up with such applications as she is responsible for Easy Touch also. And I can take it.
yeah, so. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like it. So, yeah, we will at the powerful token. For example, so we've seen the wave value parser,
Mhm.
which is very simple. Then we have the tabular parser, I call it. So
Somebody what? Language?
So whenever there's an output format of scale that basically has two columns, then it tries to parse those entities into rows and with key and value.
I can define the separator for the column.
I think the separate is always basis, of course, basis tabs and maybe what to call it, columns and so on. Yeah. It's not configurable. That's the
Okay.
problem here. And then there's
If you make it configurable, then it will become a much wider.
course. And the biggest one is the text protocol path. And the idea of the text protocol path is that you can define a protocol here. I show you, for example, a moisture analyzer. Here, for example, you see, this is I call it a pattern for a moisture analyzer. And the moisture analyzer sends a protocol. So when you start the process of the moisture analyzer, it will start by sending this here, basically. But of course, here in the end part, the right part, there are the values, of course. And so this text part tries to match
This particular.
yes, the match those, and then it creates one packet with this content and calls it protocol header. And then this packet goes through to the output ports, and the output ports can decide what to do with the header. And for example, we had an application where this protocol header starts a new Excel, opens a new Excel file from a template and fills out the header of the Excel file with the header of the moisture analyzer.
Okay.
And then there are the values there, so it's always time and value. And then packets go through the pipeline and fill the Excel file, and then at the end, when it's completed, this here comes and then it saves the Excel file and closes it, for example. So this is a mechanism that works solely with balance connection. Another interesting thing here is this configuration here, test illuminator and NVV, are our temperature and moisture and humidity references in the laboratory. So we received them. We had a person showing us how it works, and I was able to configure balance connection to work with our climate. The test and illuminator is a climate chamber, and it controlled the climate chamber and took the reference values from this temperature sensors. So it's
Awesome.
it wasn't even away values, it was temperature data and it's controlled.
So basically, you receive the data from sensor and pass it to the another one to control it.
Yeah,
So-
more or less.
This can handle that.
It's more or less so this device, for example, it's a climate change it could control all this. Yeah. Okay. So I think
Balance connection is a very, very flexible software.
Good one. Yeah,
But
I underestimated it. I thought so.
yeah, well, also as it is such a flexible software, it is more or less easy to support if we don't have Marcel to be contacted about these things, because he's the most familiar person in the company with this kind of software. We do have a lot of experience so far in the service, but yeah. I'm not sure if the new version of or the next steps would be to have it even more flexible, or to have scenarios which are, let's say, predefined.
It's possible. So you just restructure the window the way you wanted, and
yeah, so these are here. It doesn't work because it's so the scale now sends continuous values, and yeah, as you can see, this is not set up correctly, and there's also a bug here, as you can see. The idea here would be to have a big screen with the current temperature here in this case. Here you can see a big screen, which has the same template language, of course, as the other things. You could output it as a text. You could have a chart where it shows.
you can also build the chart.
Yes, a single chart with multiple series are possible. So you could synchronize multiple scales and show them. But of course, in a full-fledged software, you would want to analyze this point and build differences and whatever. But you can see here the different series, which are defined by volume 1 and 2, for example, as a template language. And at this point, you could, inside this template language, you could also define functions. For example, here, I could say, take the weight. And take the weight and take the value of the weight, for example. Take the value of the weight, or now take the value of the weight, or take the absolute value of the weight, or take the sign, or the whatever, and yeah, divide, multiply, add, and so on. So simple operations on the value are possible. Look, we multiply weight by 2. Let's see here. Yeah. You see, this is twice as much as the one. So
How many parallel processing can happen here? Only one. The pipeline is one, or multiple pipelines can be defined.
Pipelines can be defined. So yeah, of course you can send from one input port to all input ports to one input port. Okay, you can do it
One to many or many to ones, both.
Multiple, we have a multitask, multi-threading the application. Multi-threading means, so from the one port we will read, we will send the data to another port. So my question is, the application is completely single thread, technically, or multiple threads, because we in a single thread we can take the data from the port side, multiple port side. So the parallel task will run in the background, send the data.
Yeah, I think it's let's say, I'm not sure whether there are multiple.
Yes.
I think it's multi-thread. I even think that each parser is a thread and each output port has a thread when it's necessary.
Running this, running as a data.
Multi-thread, yeah, and it's
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
We also use balance connection to realize a project with the customer. So which doesn't have anything to do with XML. We did it to, there was a customer, he wanted one device to define the weights, not the weight, the reference pieces, the reference pieces for counting. And afterwards it should be sent to 10 different other devices as a reference. So we set the reference on 10 other scales, 10 other devices by getting the value from one balance and sending.
Yeah, and this was done with the balance connection.
Yes. This was the perfectly, I think, three systems. One EWJ and
scale for reference, and 10 counting scales to receive the reference weight, and then you can count the parts with every counting scale.
And you can combine it with input boxes and ask the customer type in the raw data or scan it. Then you have this value in your system.
But it's a proper integration tool between the weighing machine and the application. And if you have balances, from the balances you want to transform the data to another application. Not just data, you wanted to do some workaround for calculations. This can do.
Yeah.
Not one, many to many it can do.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, so the general setup, I think it's very flexible, but
Yes.
I always thought there are a few things where you need maybe a communication, maybe a loop, a pipeline, a loop of the pipeline, or maybe some communication between the pipelines or something.
You're talking about like BizTalk, how you have in the pipeline. BizTalk server, we have the pipelines, right? You can define by BizTalk or SQL integration services. You
Yeah.
have shapes which you can draw, move it, configure it. That we can try it in the next version.
Yeah. The question is what couldn't we solve? What can we solve at the moment, and how? Which mechanism do we need to solve it? Not how to solve it, but which mechanism do we integrate to solve such kind of problems? This is the question we should ask. Not how can customer, not solve single problems, but solve them. Da geht es darum, dass man, wenn man dann quasi, wenn man dann merkt, okay, wir kriegen das hier, der Kunde nicht befriedigt quasi mit diesem, mit der Software so wie sie jetzt ist, quasi überlegen, wie generell allgemeine Mechanismen könnte man einbauen, um generell dieses Kategorieproblem zu lösen. Also,
Can you also read data from a file or Excel and move it to another? No.
Not implemented.
Say for example, why I ask this is, let's say for example, I'm getting a measurement. I wanted to transform the article ID or something with that.
Yeah.
But that you can handle it in the configuration itself, right? Some static article ID, you can pass it.
But that's then again the idea of EasyTouch and predominantly of EasyTouch individual, where there is a screen, one field where an article ID can be given in, the second field, a weighing value comes in. This is bundled and given to some application. Why? Because a human being is involved who scans the.
Yeah.
So EasyTouch is.
Even here you can do.
Yeah, so the question is where comes EasyTouch and with Balance Connect? We often had the problem, for example, when we ship packages, maybe we want to tell the user to place the package, for example, or to scan a code and then place the package, and then the code and the weighing value is transferred to the ERP system. And this is possible here with the triggers. You can ask the user and you can tell them to scan something and the input box, yes, basically, and then it remembers what's scanned and waits for the weight value and transfers both to the output port. But I remember that there are a few things a few little functions that are
additionally
very useful at some point. Really tight, maybe 10 lines of code could make it very easy to solve such a problem.
On your own.
For example, the user in many cases we could solve maybe 99% of the user problem, but 1% we couldn't solve easily, and we had to make a huge workaround for this. And at the end of the work, maybe because 3 lines of code are missing. Could be.
Albert, with this you can do many things. Whatever we are talking about as workflow, integration. If somebody understands balance connection and somebody understands the customer requirement, you can configure and give it.
Yeah, but like magic would definitely be that we get here some technical data off, and this ends in an ERP system, nice and bundled and directly for data processing. That will never work in life, never in life. First, not only from one balance value will come, but from many balance. So what balance sense? There is no integration tool like SafeServer, and there is no API to the ERP system, and there is nobody inside Köln who can support the whole thing. We only have one Marcel and all of you, but we are no IT experts. We cannot support it. And therefore, who does what? And balance connection is good in machine-to-machine communication and maybe good in more things, but when a human being is involved and involved with the information who is performing, on what balance we are performing, what is the timestamp, and all this data set, maybe including with an alibi memory ID. That is something which I see then on EasyTouch side.
EasyTouch side, in balance connection also, if you look at, it's possible. It's all there.
Yeah, I think it's quite common.
It's all there.
It's quite common. That
Whatever you're talking about, it is already there.
But I'm not.
I will need some technical.
It would be new to me if we have a user management inside here.
No user management, but for the user, you can give instruction, do this, do this, do this.
I think
Albert point is a physical user sample who somebody logged in and then do it.
Albert is very on the he likes quality management.
Yeah.
He understands the importance to have to record the users and.
I know that there is a big difference between machine to machine. This is clear to me. This is fantastic. Human to machine, different.
Yeah. I think we have many customers that are so one person companies, for example, that just wants this value in his Excel file or in his ERP system, and he doesn't care. Maybe he's not even certified to any standards. Nobody cares who weighs and at what time or whatever. He just wants this value. I think we have many customers that.
No, even that you can achieve it. Marshall, you can achieve that. But what you can do is you can pass the user info who is performing the machine ID, the extra value you can send it through this.
For example, you can pass it or
you can send it in this.
Take it
from the login ID.
That window login, you can take.
You can send it. So user ID also can be sent in.
The problem is that of course, when balance connection can send it, it is something that is tied into the target application, which is the
can be manipulated.
Yes, and so the idea at some point was to integrate some alibi memory and balance connection. So which is encrypted and protected.
You're not storing anything here.
No, it probably doesn't. Of course, you could add an output port to store some file somewhere, but it's not protected. And so I thought there are some lines of code. It would be easy to create a hash, for example, which could be verified for the customer. It would be easy to set up a process that is that could be audited in some way, but it's not implemented.
At one point, you're right. This is not for an end user. Okay, this tool. This is for a user who can configure everything and give it to them. It will run it. Right? We have to configure and give it to them. Then they can use it. Whereas EasyTouch, you just install, use it directly. That's possible.
More or less, if you take a look at
It's a technical
experience view, yes, but there is also the easy view, which I think can be used by an end user also.
The first one.
Yeah,
normal
probably
ones.
we would need to have
Training
some kind of a little guide through, or probably what would be very good would be to have the device to be identified automatically by USB or something like that in the future. But the other view of balance connection is pretty simple, I think, and usually users work with that very, very well. So, yeah.
How much time you spend to develop this method? Yes.
The weekends, basically.
Weekends.
It's a weekend job and bus station. Yeah, I remember sitting at in the winter at the bus station and thinking about import, output. Well, let's do it like this. Yeah.
I think
Many problems
most
you
of the
can
work as a student,
Okay.
right?
Too good.
Just for completeness, maybe regarding the outputs. What I told before, that it's possible to add this filters. For example, you can add a filter that images that filters values. Let's see that checks for value conditions. Only values that are larger than 100 grams, for example, will go this route, for example, and yeah, the time synchronization process of them. Yeah. Then quickly output ports. The Excel output port, which is quite yeah, elaborate. You can have a template file that is opened or copied. You can have a target file. The target file you can define what name it has based on the timing, basically. You can tell in which worksheet the data is written. You can protect the sheets. This is something that the administrator set up. Protects it. Here it can log the settings of balance connection, and then it tells the end user, here, press F2, and now do what the system says, for example. And it cannot manipulate the values because they are protected in Excel, and yeah, it cannot manipulate the configuration. And then there are different modes in which way it is written in Excel. For example, it writes a tabular style with columns, for example, in Excel. The date, time, value, unit, for example, or it can fill certain cells. So there's some kind of template. So this cell here, that put this cell here. Yeah, or just the active cell if the user works actively. Okay. And here, there's also the possibility to add scenarios to the outputs, where you can tell the system when we receive, for example, the protocol header, we want to play a sound and simulate key press, mouse click, or to do Excel things. Or ask the user input boxes. So basically scripts or something that run when the value reaches an output.
Given settings, the weight should be go to this particular Excel cell. These settings available.
Yeah, so settings. For example, you can say here the tabular. So start with A1 and build a table of this value. This is one way. Or you can say right in the Excel cell C14 or in the Excel cell named Zeitpunkt to write these values, these contents in.
Okay.
So we use to integrate and watch analyze. Okay. Also, just because I think of it, there's also possible that there are examples to download. So it's possible to set the balance connection up and then save the setting as a file. And this file we provide as download as download, and it should serve as an example. It's also possible to switch configurations between the customer that used different setups. So on this scale with this printer and then this scale with the other system. For example. You can see we only have 3 examples at the moment. And this is quite an elaborate example. Topic packs. Topic packs. Prepack. Yes, this is prepack. One customer had it.
Okay. The dealers are trained in this application. All the dealers are trained in this application.
I think so, yeah. Alle Händler das verkaufen.
But they are not trained.
No,
They're not
trained.
trained.
You sell it,
By
but
us.
If you have trained, this could have been a major success.
No. They know that balance connection is there, at least some. And if we are lucky, then they come to us with the requirement and we would then solve it in balance connection. We would do the settings. Oder ihr stellt das dann ein, dass es funktioniert.
Most things, customer makes his installation and we connect the scale. And then he writes what he want to do with the data, and then he saved the configuration file. And then he sent the file per email to us. And we made mostly the configuration of the file and sent it back. And so we only had to connect the scale and all works. This makes the work very simple.
So you can download whatever configuration you have done it as a configuration file.
Simple, .NET, Excel,
Super.
XML, complete file.
Super.
App settings, complete.
Using XML structure or
XML.
XML structure?
And we are collecting the settings somewhere, so we can use one setting of an existing customer and use it again if the requirement is the same.
Yeah, that's PC.
Okay.
Hopefully the out is that right.
So far, yes, in absence or are working on some kind of a notice base. At the moment, this is only an Excel file with different applications which are described and to have some kind of a link to the file and so on. And that's how we are working at the moment, basically.
It would be an idea to add those examples to
Yeah.
to the online. I'm not sure how many customers.
Yeah, I did not know that. I'm just so far. No, probably.
Have to move from there from AWS.
It's an important one because what is the average time for one requirement? For example, for a customer? Yeah,
1 hour.
1 hour.
Das ist das Problem bestimmt nach der Zeit.
Most of the customers.
1 hour is for free with the price including buying
Okay.
Yeah, but this is something I think we need to talk about.
Yeah.
The service concept by having the license numbers like serial numbers. On the service side. Like a service body. Comment.
Yeah.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, done so far with
Marcel, if you have doubts going through it and then doubts come back, can we come back here?
All these experts.
End user usage point of view, yes, you can help. But others, you can only help, I think.
We have to.
Yeah.
If you can try send an email.
I like it.
It's maybe it gets better at some point. Yeah.
I'll distribute.
But it's-
okay. So that was point one, the user function. Why do users buy balance connection? The second thing that we would define is the team and roles of the team members. The idea is from the feedback, it comes basically to Ina. As from the sales side, Ina takes it on to Andreas as product manager. Andreas again reviews it, validates it, makes a description of what we need, gives that to Microsoft. Microsoft realizes and then it's tested, checked, and then we release it.
So this means mostly we will get input from for example, from the sales or maybe service.
Mhm.
Could also be possible. And
Of course, yeah.
Andreas would need to define what needs to be done in India in this case, and to manage this process. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
yeah,
will have
yeah,
a team
yeah.
of developers who will support them. Whatever he wants, they will support.
Yes, because there are several, I think, different things to be done in, for example, PDB and so on. Also, so I'm not sure. And we have to discuss that later. For example, the Easy Touch is also in PDB. License management stuff, what is done here so far. This is also something we will give to knowledge of them.
Yeah.
Das ist, ja, das Balance Connection Management.
Yeah, for example.
But license management is different than Easy Touch.
Okay.
So first we have to see if it makes sense to use the license management from Easy Touch or use that one we already have.
The key can I get with the same key I can install it on any number of machines.
It's just a simple pattern mechanism, basically.
The difference
Easy
is
Touch
it's
cannot be
not
used.
4 installation, it's 1 installation. One license is.
So any number of installation I can do with the key.
No, the
And
license
connection
code
license
is 1.
Can not only install on one PC, you can use 4 PCs. With one serial number, you don't have a machine ID. For for every PC, you have only one serial number. You can install on 4 PCs.
But can I restrict the user to 5th PC? No,
Basically,
it's a simple one. That's
the license has, my knowledge, one active workplace, the license, so you can have one PC with hundreds of users, or you can have one user using this laptop and a PC. This is the license. But it's no hard protection against using it on.
First, we will understand the application, start supporting it. At that time, we will go to the Easy Touch way. The key is mapped for that particular machine, mapped to the user PC. So they cannot use it on other PCs. We will restrict.
The question is, how complicated it needs to be. So it should, to my opinion, maybe it's good that it works without internet access, for example.
Easy Touch licensing you have seen.
Okay.
And also, if it is online, we check the licensing tool if the license, and you disable the licensing portal. If they come online, automatically the licensing will be disabled. All this we have done, and it's all encrypted too.
I think it should work the same, basically.
Yeah, we will.
No,
Yeah,
no,
let's say it's like Easy Touch licensing.
Okay. So, team and growth, feedback from sales, service, etc. come into the segment Easy Touch Labor 2, which is headed by Ina. The segment, this I said wrongly, decides about the new functions, same as segments decides about new products. Segment team members are all who are sitting here. Except Marcel. And then Andreas will validate the decision and then describe the requirements. Validate, I mean, is maybe the wish is impossible. Wish is wish, but not possible to realize. And describe the requirement. And then we will give the requirement to Mallensoft. Do we know from Mallensoft side who the
Not yet.
Not yet. That's it, more roles I don't see. What did I forget? What?
Support, das was bisher.
Support, yeah, support. Good, yeah, very good.
One
Support.
question, what's about verifying and validating the software changes? Out of mountains.
We will do with along with you.
All
We both
together.
We both will do.
For example, segment comes with the wish, we want.
So we will, when you are giving the requirement, we will do the development and then validate with you whether we have done it in the right way. So what we do is when you give a requirement, we will come back to you what change we are going to make it. Once you approve it, we'll make the change and then demonstrate to you. This is how we are working.
In the other segments, there is sometimes there are wishes from the segment, but then product management sees that these wishes are difficult or not possible to theoretically analytical balance 0.1 milligram and IP68. That's what I did. Support, we do, you do front level support and Microsoft does second level support?
Yeah. Yeah, easy touch, right?
Yeah, but balance connection was different so far. There you did front level and you did second level, I assume, or how did you do it?
So we did it like that, If it was possible, we did it like that, but most of the cases, I think, we did it like that.
Okay, support is first level.
And maybe the,
What do you say as first level?
I don't know.
The first level is customer interactions you will manage. And technical, we have to do configuration or something you will take care or we have to do the configuration.
Well, I think so far this depends on how
Complex.
how complex the application of the customer is.
Configuration is something customer demands, taking the customer demands. Yeah. And usually then
Would
the
be-
second level would be bug fixing.
Not the bug fixing, but see, this tool is not for the, okay, maybe I may put it in a different way. This tool is not for an end user. This tool is for somebody, a technical specialist who goes and deploy it in the customer environment, configure everything and hand over and come back. Okay, based on your requirement, somebody has to customize this, not like EasyTouch. This is a nice tool. It's
No, it has to be customized. That I would say
Who's
is
going to do the
configuration.
Who's going to do that?
That's basically what you do with these config files, right?
Yes. You will take care of the configuration.
Yes, we make the scale communicates with the new balance connection and put it in an Excel sheet or something.
But I think it's important to have this knowledge database about the different requirements.
Exactly.
To share this knowledge database because it's important for sales, it's important for the customized project because sometimes you can use this one maybe a second time.
Of course, or it's similar.
Just to save the time for doing this customized solution, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Knowledge database, that means
If they already
For one
solved
scenario,
one
how you solve it?
scenario, for example, for the DBS, we have one solution. That there is a knowledge database that we know that we already did this for another customer and use this solution for another one, just to save time. Because if we do it every time as an individual project, we will never earn money with this support. So.
Well, Andreas has put in a lot of effort so far in this Excel file because we wanted to have it special. So you will be able to search by tags, for example, or by using a whole text and not only to filter or one column.
what Excel
Yeah.
An Excel file where you collect.
I collect all the config files of
Super.
Edgar.
Okay.
And describe the requirements of the customer.
Super.
And try to define some
Text keywords.
Text, yeah.
Collection of existing solutions. Wie nennt ihr die Lösung? Das sind bei Config Files, oder? Config Files. Okay. Super. Super.
But we have just started it because Edgar has done, I think,
Yeah, but
200 or more.
Yeah.
so far, this file is completely in German. But we do have it in on OneDrive, so we could make it accessible also for MSI. Change the language then.
If
So
it is
we will have a
possible.
complete. That's what we will think about in the future, probably, but not today, but yeah.
And we have to analyze more config files of Edgar. There's a lot of knowledge in this.
But this is the big task so far.
Yeah.
Edgar has taken.
Okay, so I was noting first level support current service with customer demands and designing the configuration or customization. And there you collect the existing solutions and reuse as far as possible, the existing solutions. And the second level support would be bug fixing in my eyes. And I don't know how you see it, but I would see that ERP connections, integrations would then be also a second level thing. Easy touch, it's definitely like this, maybe different with balance connection.
ERP integration, we don't bring it here for now.
Mhm.
It is possible at the terminal level. What we have done and Easy Touch is API integration we have given.
Okay, so the API.
Integration we have done in Easy Touch. It's already developed.
Okay,
For
so
some customers, we have what our plan is make it as a reusable component and sell it as a package for ERP, for SAP separately, for Sage OS separately in future. Right now, we are learning what kind of requirements coming from the customer and implementing to that specific customer as a application.
So if Easy Touch will manage that in the future, then we won't
Even
have
now-
anymore or won't support it anymore for balance connection.
No, balance connection, I think it's a different tool. You cannot bring it to Easy Touch. Easy Touch and balance connection are different
Okay,
world.
but so far we used it to integrate or to bring data to the customer's ERP system.
Yeah.
You are bringing it through the terminal point,
exactly.
not with direct to the application. Say, for an example, you not in a proper application integration strategy. It's too good for one terminal. Within that, if you are using it, it's a nice tool. And or what you have to do is you have to write this data to an API. If you could call the API from here, then completely you can handle it in a different way. If you want API touch points to be given outcome of a file, if you want to via JSON move it to another API,
Also
in this,
API
that's
ist eine
all.
Schnittstelle.
Ja.
Was wir bei EasyTouch machen, ist, die Daten, Wiegedaten, Zelldaten werden in eine Tabelle geschrieben und die wird über eine Schnittstelle dann an das ERP-System übergeben. Im Prinzip wie die Office-Line-Versandvorgänge an das Paulo-Tool übergibt. Aber wenn ich es richtig verstanden habe, dann sind die ERP-Verbindungen und Balance Connection im Prinzip einfach so, dass man im ERP ein Feld hat und in das Feld wird halt ein definierter Wert eingeschrieben.
Das ist direkt in den Daten.
So
Ja,
we have
Es gibt auch noch welche Outputs, so that there are different outputs. For example, the HTTP call or write a file, which could of course be something like a JSON file. Also, it's possible. I think it's to my current understanding, EasyTouch is actively used in this case when you have the ERP system in the back.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So the difference is if you already have the template or the mask of the system, then you will use balance connection. If you will use maybe another process, the mask is not there in the office line, then you will use EasyTouch. So both is necessary and you can't compare the two systems.
This has a lot of advantage, and EasyTouch also has nice features. So we can go both now and learn whatever good things from balance connection we'll adopt to EasyTouch.
Absolutely.
And maybe in additional features like API integration and that you do it here, then it will be a different world.
For example, there's also hot control protocols.
You can implement that directly here. It's easy.
Yeah, yeah.
You have all the tools engine, everything you have. You can configure and then deploy it.
Okay.
It's a very powerful tool, this one. And EasyTouch is for each requirement we customize and keep it. Here, as a end user, I can customize what I need.
For information, you asked for about 400 lines per year.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's nice.
I'm sure there are many
Misuses.
but this, yeah, this is
One good license they purchase and use it. Albert, we need to protect this as fast as possible. This is a nice tool, powerful tool.
I think so too. We should not mix it. We should learn from each tool and improve it.
Okay. Team and role so far defined.
Yeah. Albert, maybe you can put A as a team deployment. I need some time to deploy right people into this. Learning period. First thing is I'll identify a team.
Yeah.
And
Then we come to the technical transition. The idea would be that we have, as first, we have a learn period of, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years, in which we start with a new structure. Andreas will give the requirement to Marlinsoft. Marlinsoft connects maybe with Marcel how to realize it. And then I hope step by step, more can be done by Marlinsoft individually with reducing lesser help from your side. In the first steps, you will have to have them very closely identifying what part in the software needs to be amended how or changed how. But I hope that after some few projects, Marlinsoft gets more and more individual, independent. Sorry.
I think that I have a list of.
yeah, exactly. That I want first.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that I need first because you know what are the gaps in this application exactly.
More.
That gaps we fill it first.